Welcome back to JB Sports. I'm your host, Jonathan Burton, and I've been putting this video off for a little bit just because as a Commanders fan, I wasn't ready for the season to end yet, so I didn't make it when I probably should have, which was a week or two ago, because I was still upset. I mean, of course, I'll get into why I probably should feel a little better than I am, but we'll get into it. So this is after the Eagles have beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Let me get that shade. So, what I have to say about the Commanders seasons from me and my Commanders fan. First, as much as it sucks that we lost the Eagles in that fashion and in the NFC Championship, we have to think who thought we were going to be there this year. If you remember my old videos, personally, I said the best we were going to go was 6 or 7 wins. We have blown that out of the water, as you could tell from the season. We were supposed to be in a rebuild year, they said. I said that. And look at what we did. We made it to the NFC Championship. The teams we made to beat there. Buccaneers, the Lions, the best team in the NFC record-wise. Turns out not the best team in the NFC, but record-wise, best team in the NFC. Then we put a very subpar effort against the Eagles and lose. That does suck. And the reason that does suck is because that game, the reason we lost was not because of the refs, not because of anything stupid happening. It was because we shot ourselves in the foot. The fumbles, the bad defensive plays, the letting Saquon go for massive amount of yards. That was on us. But nonetheless, let's take a look back at the season. So, starting the season, we lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of all teams. That game was a very weird game because it was the first game of the new quarterback, Jayden Daniels, of course. Our dear friend and GOAT, Jayden Daniels. Love him, who I will talk about in a little bit just because, we will talk about the winning awards. Let's take a recap of the season. So, first game, we lose to the Buccaneers 37-20. Jayden Daniels' first game, we were like, all right, listen, didn't look the greatest. Defense still looked bad. Benjamin St-Juste, Emmanuel Ford's still looking bad, but you know what? Let Jayden Daniels have some time. Let's see what he can turn into. Next game, go against the rival Giants, 21-18. Good first win of the season. Little risky. Maybe they should have won, but you know what? We got the dub at the end of the day. Next game, Commanders versus Bengals, 38-33. That was the coming out party of Jayden Daniels. That's when we knew Jayden Daniels was legit. He was our guy, and he's going to stay here for a while. That game solidified him for the rest of the season. Then, in that game, you had the Terry McLaurin touchdown. You had some good defensive stops. You had some good plays that game. It was really fun, but it still showed our weakness at cornerback and defensive backs. Commanders Cardinals 42-14. Good old fashioned butt whooping. Jayden Daniels had a great game. Our defense, other than the first 2 drives, pretty good. Next game, Browns versus Commanders. Again, Jayden Daniels solidified himself. Those a pick early in the game, but plays well throughout it. Commanders Ravens. This one stung. We lost 30-23. Not a bad loss. I mean, we still look pretty good, but again, it was at the point where it's looking like it wasn't our time yet. And it still technically isn't. Next game, Panthers 7-40. We lost Jayden Daniels in the first quarter of this game, and it looked a little worrying. Jayden Daniels got the rib injury, but it's all good. But Marcus Mariota came in and balled out. It showed that our team can still work good, but not as good without Jayden, because Jayden would have put in crazy numbers. Then the next game, Bears 15, Commanders 18. One of the biggest moment of the year, voted for by the NFL and awards. The Hail Mary ended the Bears' entire season. Jayden Daniels got 5 people on the Bears coaching staff fired, basically, and it catapulted us up and the Bears way down. and it was the first matchup between Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels, where they both really didn't play good, but Jayden Daniels was just a little bit better and had a little bit more luck. Next game, Commanders Giants, another game where we probably should have lost. For some reason, Daniel Jones plays amazing against us, but Jayden Daniels was able to pull it out. Next game, heartbreaker. We lose to the Steelers. This game was rough. I remember this game being really rough, especially for me because we should have won. We had the Mike Williams, the touchdown he had against us because Benjamin St-Juste let a slow, old Williams just running for a touchdown. Great ball by Russell Wilson, but it shouldn't have got there. And Jazon Newton, we still had a chance, jumps off sides on a, I believe, third down snap count. So, or fourth. It was rough. Next game, Commanders Eagles. Another loss. This one hurt because we played really good first half and then we let it all go, and Jayden Daniels probably had his worst game of the season. Next game, a really bad one. Cowboys 34, Commanders 26. This one we shouldn't have had a chance at winning because we played terrible the whole game. We got very lucky. Jayden Daniels threw a last-minute touchdown to Terry McLaurin, which was an insane 70-yarder. Had a great call with it. Lightning strikes twice, or I think that was what it was. And Austin Seibert missed the kick, and we lost. And the Cowboys scored another touchdown by the end of it. Next game, Titans Commanders. That was our get back game. Jayden had a great game, brought him back into that field of play where he's like, you know what? Listen, I'm Jayden Daniels. Yeah, I'm a little hurt, but I'm getting better. Destroy the Titans. Great game. I was there. Really good game. Next game, Commander Saints. Shouldn't have been this close. 20-19. Commanders win on a last-second failed 2-point conversion. Jayden Daniels played good, but it shouldn't have been that close. The next game, Eagles 33, Commanders 36. Another game where we probably shouldn't have won it, but we won it. Jalen Hurts got hurt earlier in that game, and Jayden Daniels got, I believe, around 5 touchdowns total, and somewhere around 4 to 5, and we won last second with a game-winning touchdown. Next one, Falcons Commanders. Great game. Jayden played really well, got us that win, and I believe, was it overtime? I don't remember if it went to OT, but last second win by Jayden. I think it was overtime. Yeah, last second win by Jayden Daniels. Commanders Cowboys. This one probably shouldn't win again, but it clinched us the 7th seed opposed to the 8th seed because the Packers lost to the Bears, and we won. Marcus Mariota again coming in late and winning us that game with Terry McLaurin. Then, going to the playoffs. I'll go a little more in depth to these. First round of the playoffs. This playoffs, let's be honest, we were just hoping we'd get a win because we didn't get a win since 2005. So as a Commanders fan and Commanders fans, we were all really excited but really nervous because we don't want to have that streak of losing. And we pretty close whole game. Marshawn Lattimore, he was getting cooked the whole game by Mike Evans, and our defense, the only person really playing good was the D-line, which they weren't playing good in the beginning of half. And really, Bobby Wagner was our only bright spot. Got that fumble recovery at the end. Jayden Daniels capitalized. We got a touchdown. And then the Bucs tied it up in the last second. Zane Gonzalez doinked it in to bring us to the divisional round against the Lions, which, let's be honest, not a lot of people thought we'd win. I didn't think we'd win. I didn't believe in us enough. And this game was absolutely insane. What a shootout it was. 45-31. It was touchdowns back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Insane game. Jayden played great. Harry played good. Our defense played amazing. Quan Martin had the pick 6. Mike Sanders still had 2 interceptions one against Jared Goff and one against, was it Jameson Williams? JMO? I think it was JMO. And we won the game, and then Jeremy Chin got an interception to seal it. Great game all around. You had a lot of cool touchdowns. The pick 6 was by Quan Martin, was electric. Both the interceptions were electric by Mike Sanders still. And Jayden Daniels cooked again. Then the NFL Conference Championships. This one definitely did hurt. Eagles 55 to the Commanders 23. This game, we did not come to play. Jayden tried. his hardest, but the defense was not holding anything. They were holding on AJ Brown, Marshall Lattimore did, and it was bad all around. Our run defense couldn't stop Saquon at all. Saquon had a field day on us, and we just couldn't get it going at all on offense. Rough game, and then the fumbles killed us. Austin Eckler, De'Ami Brown. I want to say we fumbled one more time, and I just can't remember who it was. But overall, it wasn't Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson did shine in the last in the Lions game. He shined, but Eagles game he did not. The defensive line was too much for us, and Jaden Daniels didn't have any help, and it didn't help that Sam Cosmi got hurt. But this game against the Eagles, we lost because we didn't come to play and they came to play. That's the difference. But going in, so off the games, let's just talk about players in total. Biggest bright spot of all, we have found our franchise QB after so many years of trying, so many years of looking, being in QB purgatory. Jaden Daniels, drafted number 2 overall, comes and has the greatest rookie QB season too, of all time, in my opinion. Wins Rookie of the Year, gets Moment of the Year, and Jaden Daniels' stats through the full year. We have regular season completions, 331, attempts, 480. That's regular season. Postseason, 75 for 114 passing, with a 69% completion rating in regular season, 65.8 in postseason. Interceptions, only 1 in postseason. And regular season, 9, which, I mean, it's not Stroud's numbers, but there was some where it was his fault and some where it wasn't. So, Jaden Daniels' passing yards for the entire season. 3,568 yards. Insane. 25 touchdowns. Great. Biggest game was definitely against the Eagles where we won on that last second touchdown to Jamison Crowder, where Jamison Crowder, love you, bro. Insane. Eagle Slayer. Longest, 86 yards. He was sacked 47 times, which is better than last year with Sam Howell. So you have to think that, our line has gotten better, but we still need a lot of help there. Rushing, 148 carries, 891 yards, 6 touchdowns. Longest was 46. Fumbled 3 times, but it's okay. He got a defensive tackle, so great for him. 25 passing, 6 rushing touchdowns, 1 2-point, and 1 2-point conversion on his legs. So overall, Jaden Daniels broke multiple records. You had that one Bengals game where he had the best completion rating, I think, of a quarterback in a game, or I think a rookie quarterback, one of the two, with I think 20 plus attempts. You had the single year rushing record by a rookie quarterback. He broke that, or I think a rookie. He broke that. He beat Robert Griffin III out for that spot. So great year by him. So many more records that I can't name off the top of my head. He has the most Pepsi Rookies of the Week of all time. He is him. He had the best rookie season of all time. And to cap it off, he won Rookie of the Year, and he had 4 votes for MVP. So enough, 4 people said, you know what, Jaden Daniels is the 4th best player in the league, because he got 4 votes for 4th place. So, 4 4th place votes. So, great. Jaden Daniels, he is our bright spot. Offensively, Terry McLaurin, most touchdowns in a season by a Washington Commander receiver of all time. He finally got his chance in the playoffs. He did great. Last game, granted, wasn't the best for basically everyone but Jaden. But it was rough. But in the first 2 games, he showed out. Terry McLaurin does what Terry McLaurin does best, and really proved why he's a top 10 receiver in the league. Wide receiver wise, other than that, Noah Brown, he played really good for us. I know he caught that Hail Mary pass for the win against the Bears, so that always has to be highlighted. But he had some big games, big moments for us. So wish Noah Brown could have been with us for the last push for the playoffs, but wasn't able to be there. De'Ami Brown has some bright spots, had some bad spots, but he shined brightest in that game against the Lions, and he did pretty good in the last few regular season games. He really showed why he could be a solid to really high third string wide receiver, and really proud of him and what he was able to do, especially against the Lions after all that criticism, especially with Amon-Ra Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown saying, "Oh yeah, he drafted before me. What has he done?" So great for him, especially being one of the key factors in that game to beating them, and he's looking like a guy who can stay. Running back Brian Robinson, I still love B Rob. I still love what he's done for us. Is he a reliable number one? Possibly. He had a rough season. He had a lot of injuries. He had the 3 fumbles, I believe it was 3 or 2 against the Eagles, and kind of hurt our confidence in him for a while. We went to the Lions. He did great there. He had some bright spots. He had some low spots. Say you don't know. Austin Eckler, he did great. You had Jerry McNichols. He looked pretty good too. And Chris Rodriguez looked pretty good when he had his chances. He did not let a moment get wasted when he was on the field. So running back room looks pretty good. Maybe searching for that number one, bona fide number one still, but Brian Robinson could take it next year and go crazy. He is definitely a guy who can get over 1,000 yards rushing if he's not injured. He just has to be healthy, and he just has to not talk trash and fumble multiple times in the game. But overall, running back room, pretty happy with. Luke McCaffrey, though, on wide receiver, wish he would have scored a touchdown, but he had some great plays for us in some games and really big in the return game off of kickoffs in the last part of the season, especially with Jamison Crowder too with punt returns, which Jamison Crowder had some pretty good plays at wide receiver too. He was big for us on some 4th downs. Another part of the Commanders that I want to talk about, tight ends, Zach Ertz. Pretty good year for us. He was a big 4th down conversion guy for us. Jaden with his legs was big. I mean, we were the best 4th down conversion team in the league. We were the best 4th down team in the league, in my opinion, and statistically, really. So, really big offensively, and he was pretty good for us, especially in the playoffs. Offensive line, Sam Cosmi, really hope he's going to be okay, but he is our huge bright spot. Coleman stays healthy, does even better this year, but for being a project pick coming out, he looks really good. You have be honest, he stayed healthy, he'd be great. If our line stayed healthier, I think we would have been way better come to the end because we would have had a lot more chemistry and we all would have been familiar with each other. But there were some injuries here and there. We were never really fully healthy, I feel, at O line. So kind of sucked. And then Sam Cosmi tearing his ACL was really bad in the playoffs. But O line needs some work still, but way better than last year. And a lot of those sacks probably could have been attributed last year to Sam Howell holding the ball for too long, but here or there, you can't be picky with it. They were bad last year, and they've gotten better this year, but we still need some depth there and some players that are better than some of our options we have. Other ones, kicking, still love Tressway. Kickers, Austin Seibert, really good first half, bad second half. Zane Gonzalez, some rough games, won us that playoff game against the Bucks and was pretty good. So we have some okay kickers. We can go back and forth between them, but 7 kickers, I believe, were on our roster throughout the whole year, which is not a good look at all. But hopefully Austin Seibert or Zane Gonzalez can be that kicker for the future for us, or we can draft one at some point. But I don't think we need to draft one. We can just sign one or keep the 2 guys we have. Other than that, on offense, nothing really too big. Defensively, this is where we'll talk. Cornerback room, Benjamin St-Juste, Emmanuel Forbes, Michael Davis, all guys that played pretty bad. Marshall Lattimore, I don't want to say he played terrible because he had some bad games, but he didn't play a lot of games for us. He was injured basically the whole season. Before we say, oh, terrible trade, get this guy out of here, let him heal over off season. Let him play some games in the beginning of next season. And if he's terrible, then we'll be like, okay, bad pick. But overall, I still think he's good. It's good to have him here, and he'll be pretty good for us. So I like that. I like we traded for him, but he didn't do the best just because he was injured and didn't have a lot of time. A good cornerback though, Mike Sainristil. I love Mikey Sainristil. He's amazing. He was a steal where we got him. I know he's second, third round. It's not really a steal, but for the way he played like one of the best cornerbacks drafted. I will say I think Quinyon Mitchell does get him a little bit just statistically because some of the situations and passing. But overall, you really think about it, I think Mikey did almost as good, but it's definitely second best. He did also win a Defensive Rookie of the Week, which not many other people did at cornerback, especially Eagles. So we'll take it. Then going into the other parts of the defense, D-line, great at sometimes. Dante Fowler, he's like he can crash out sometimes. I feel like he's gotten some costly penalties, but he did really good and he got us a lot of sacks. So maybe we try to calm him down a little bit, maybe limit the fouls, and we can stay with flags and we can stick with him. I like him. I think we should keep him. Jonathan Allen, glad he came back at the end. Maybe see if he can be tradable. Daron Payne, the big thing about him is we gave him a large contract for some years, and after that 1 year, he did really good. He sucked. So hopefully he can pick it up. I mean, I'm not gonna say he sucked because they did make impact, especially later in the year with a run defense. But Jonathan Allison was the big guy that helped us. So we'll stick to that. Dorance Armstrong, great pickup from the Cowboys. I love how he did. Great player for us. Jazon Newton, he's going to be the future at the inside of the D line with either Daron Payne or Jonathan Allen next year, whoever is still playing with us there. Other defensive linemen, they had some good ones, but no one was as big as Dante Fowler or Dorance Armstrong, in my opinion. Other than that, safety-wise, I really, really hope we sign Jeremy Chin back. He played really good for us. He was big. And Quan Martin, one of the only good draftees left from the Ron Rivera era. He's been a real big hit, other than opposed to his counterpart Emmanuel Forbes, who we did release and is on the Rams. So he's gone, which hopefully, Benjamin St-Juste can follow him there or follow him somewhere else. Just get out of here. But he was a bright spot from the Ron Rivera draft picks, and they played really good. I like what they did. Linebacker, what can I say? Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, both hits in this offseason. Bobby Wagner, most tackles on the team, had some good plays. The playoffs, he played really well. Got that fumble recovery against the Bucs, which was pivotal in our win. So love Bobby. Frankie Louvu had a great season too. His nickname for us is the Polynesian Demon. So he's crazy and he's really good. Great locker room guy. Great player and just great in like the clutch time really. So, and if we all remember NFC Championship against the Eagles, the jumping over the line was pretty funny when they said, and then they said they'd award them points. So at that point, we had to stop. I thought he should have jumped up, but it's funny. But Frankie Lee, a great pickup, love him. Other than that, defensively, other than like Mikey Sanders still, some of the defensive linemen, and then Bobby and Frankie, we'll see. Hampton, I hope he comes back. Special teams, other than the kickers, all right. Punter Tresway, I still love him. We had some great. Jamison Crowder did great for us, and there's a lot of bright spots. Luke McCaffrey did good. Austin Eckler, hope he never goes there again because I would hate to see him get another concussion. But we'll keep him away from that. How about that? But one of the bigger parts is our coaching staff. Dan Quinn instilled a whole new culture for us, brought us from a 4-win team to a 12-win team. So you really have to think how special this season was for us, especially because an increase of 8 wins is insane. So love what Dan Quinn has done. He is a maniac in fourth downs, as we know. I think he really wants to vindicate, especially what happened with him with the Falcons in that one Super Bowl, which I brought up earlier in the last episode. Well, not last episode, but last video, the Super Bowl reaction. So, other than that, Dan Quinn, amazing. So glad we have him. For a person who we thought was rushed, last second hired, that we didn't think was a sexy hire at all, he's turned out to be great for us. Cliff Kingsbury kind of finally proved that second half of the season he can still be a good offensive coordinator. Thankfully, he's going to stay for a second year, so we can keep him going. And Joe Witt Jr., for what he had at defense, he did pretty darn well. So really happy that he's staying. Also, he was interviewed for the head coach job of the Jets, but did not get it. Aaron Glenn did. So Kind of happy they hired him instead of Joe Witt just so we could keep him, so we could keep our coaching staff together because it was a really good coaching staff, one of the best in football, underrated in my opinion. So overall, Commanders fans, and my thought is, it might have sucked how we lost, but at the end of the day, what a season we had. We didn't think we were going to be there, so we got to take the positives from it. We got to think of the positives that we got our QB of the future. We've got some of our players of the future. Mike Sanders still, B. Rob, Terry can stay here for a bit. You have some Sam Cosmi's good at the offensive line. Ben Sinnott was a good tight end for us. He was a good draft pick. You have some good defensive players. So try to think about the positives. We went from a 4-win team to a 12-win team. That is one of the highlights. No one thought we'd be where we were, especially that Lions game. So think about the positives. Think about what this season was compared to what we thought it was going to be. So that is what I have to say about the Commanders season. We won Rookie of the Year, Jayden Daniels, Moment of the Year, Jayden Daniels, and Dan Quinn was snubbed for Coach of the Year. He wasn't even number 2 in voting, which annoys me, but it is what it is. We don't really need awards technically. I mean, we can just be us and play ball like we know, but be excited for next year. We're going to have a great draft. I'm going to have a mock draft for it, but overall, this isn't what I thought about the season. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are ready for next season and kind of shake off what happened at the end. No pun intended for the Taylor Swift, but yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and bye. Subscribe and go Commanders.